Rightio. Hello, my name is Jake Curran. I'm from BLXCK INK. This is a BLXCK INK podcast, episode number 13. I'm actually recording this for the third time because yesterday I just seemed to have too much to say and not enough breath to say it, and I don't know. I think I overthought all the topics too much over the weekend. Obviously, yesterday being Monday, understand these are posted. These are staggered by a day, so you're watching this. If you watch this as it was posted on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, I recorded it on the Tuesday. So obviously the idea is I try and record on Sunday so I have something to post Monday. I didn't do that on Sunday. So I had to record something yesterday, and I do seem to work well under pressure and stress to a certain extent, but I think yesterday I had so much riding on the fact that, okay, let's get a good 45 minutes down. Let's get something so we have something to post tomorrow so the people who are following, who are relying on that podcast being there, they have something to watch. But I just got too in my head about it. I even found myself saying to Riz on Sunday about some ideas that I had for the podcast on Monday. I said, I don't want to talk about them because then it will just, I won't be able to, I'll feel like I've already said these ideas and they won't feel right. They won't feel fresh or whatever. So I just kind of had a bit of a weird space in my head yesterday. And it was one of those ones where I didn't even edit it yesterday. I just kind of felt that it wasn't right. And I let that feeling manifest into something else. And it's not even, I think it's interesting when I look at the problems that I have with these podcasts. If I have a problem before I post them, it's like it falls into a few different categories. There's like, have I said something that's going to offend someone specifically? Have I said things that I don't feel are correct? Have I said things that might hurt me in the future? And I just it was one of those ones where during the podcast, I was getting self-conscious about the sound of my own voice. And I just thought, I don't know. I speak a lot about living intuitively and making intuitive decisions. I just felt in my gut that that would be the podcast that would get heaps of traction, but probably for the wrong reason. I didn't structure my ideas very well. But the good thing is, I know I have 45 minutes worth of shit to talk about, even though I probably won't talk about most of the stuff I did yesterday. One thing that I did want to bring up that obviously you have no idea what I'm talking about because you didn't hear it, but one thing I do want to bring up that I spoke about yesterday is this little interaction that I had on Instagram. Now, just to kind of break the fourth wall and give you some, transparency as far as what I'm trying to do on Instagram. Essentially, I'm just trying to grow my following as much as possible in, a reasonable amount of time. I don't want it to blow up too quickly because then you don't really have a real grasp on who's following you for you. They're just kind of following you because it was a trend, I do want to have organic growth that kind of trends very nicely so that when, some accounts I don't quite understand, they hit like 20,000 and they stay there, or they hit 50,000 and they stay there. I feel like your account should be growing every month. You shouldn't really have any plateaus in it. And especially if you're a business selling things, I think the brand trust element of your business is obviously based around how many followers you have and how many people believe in your product, how many people are liking and commenting on your posts. But I also feel that if I saw your account 12 months ago and it had 20,000 followers and I see it today and it's got 20,000 followers and you've been posting all the time, it doesn't make me question your brand. It makes me question those 20,000 followers. Did you, if you're still doing the same thing that got those followers, then why wouldn't you continue to grow? But it's not what I'm talking about. What my goal with my account is to try and reach as many people as possible, because I'm not trying to sell you a shirt. I'm not trying to sell you a jumper in any one post or comment or like that I leave. What I am trying to do though is just have you know my name. Because if you know my name, the shirts are going to sell themselves. That's a reality. If you have a good enough brand, they will sell themselves. People will find themselves, if it isn't today or next week or next month, they will eventually buy off you if they have it somewhere within them that they want to wear your product. And I don't really want to be seen as a salesman as much as I do as a marketer or, someone who's good at advertising. And I think part of my goal or process is obviously to market myself in the best way I can. As I said, get that growth that I'm speaking about. And part of that is the organic reach, is having your name kind of omnipresent in people's vernacular just through commenting on random things. And obviously if you're on my feed and I have something to say, I'm definitely going to like everyone's shit on my feed, because that's the reason that I'm following you, is because I like your stuff. I regularly monitor that feed. I make sure there's no bullshit in there that I don't want to follow. I make sure the things that I are following that I'm actually interested in, I'm more interested in the person or the cause, whatever it might be. If I have something to say, I'll comment on it, and typically I'll comment a question because that inspires someone to respond to that question and therefore kind of tell the algorithm that you are of interest to a certain extent because people are responding to you. Now, the best possible situation you can have is someone else posts something. So let's say my friend John posts something on his account and then I go in there and say, hey, that's really cool. Why does, or how does, or where does, some sort of question. And then Mike sees this and responds to me and says, this is the answer. That says to the algorithm that this person's post is so interesting that I and someone else are engaging and having a conversation about it. Now, what that does, obviously it does great things for John's post. And in that, you can take away that every post that I put up is in a way trying to encourage you to comment or to ask a question or to say your piece, because that is telling the algorithm that I have interesting content. If I'm doing that every day and heaps of people are interacting, then that puts me further up in the algorithm, more people see me. I have that further spread amongst all the community on Instagram, and from that, obviously you grow, and from that growth you get sales. But I try not to saturate the feed with too much of my stuff. What I do try and do though is comment on as many outside posts as I can. So I go deep. I'll go into hashtags, I'll go into geolocations, I'll go into all the categories you can find in your search thing, all of the tiles on my main search page. I'll actually go into all of them and scroll down at least five tiles, and I'll like and comment each of those. I get to the point pretty much every morning that Instagram will stop letting me comment on things because I've commented on too many things. And then like when you get bored of all that, you can then go into Reels and start liking and commenting in there. To give you an idea, I wake up at 2 o'clock every morning and I do that up until 5 o'clock. So 2 till 5, all I'm doing is drinking coffee, liking and commenting people's shit on Instagram on different pages. And then at 5 o'clock, I'll then post something on both of my Instagram pages and so on. Now, what you find is like sometimes you'll comment things that you completely forget about, and then 2-3 weeks later, someone will comment on them, and then it kind of sparks back up, and And the thing is, when you comment on the search page, you have to assume that the posts that end up on the search page are the ones that have a lot of traction. They're the ones that are doing well, that Instagram thinks that because they're on your search page, that you're probably going to react well with them. And if you have a look at all these posts on the search page, they have heaps of likes, they have heaps of comments. So they've already got conversations already happening. A little trick as well is to go in there and answer other people's questions to promote them to comment back to you, because that's an even deeper level of engagement. Anyway, so a lot of the pages that I follow are to do with like money and wealth and just things like that, where they'll basically post stories, or they'll post reels, or they'll post just normal carousels or whatever that are advice based on money. And there'll be advice based on business and advice based on like financial living and all the rest. And what I like to do is, I think this particular post was on my feed, so it wasn't even on the search page. I commented on there, and I like to leave positive comments. Like I love leaving positive comments. I actually feel bad when I leave shitty comments. If I leave a shitty comment, it's only to create that like I want someone to comment back on this. Like you go on a fan page of like, say, Cillian Murphy, and then like it'll be a picture of him and someone else, and he'll be on the left, and you'll say like, oh, who's the guy on the left? And people will be like, are you fucking serious? This is a Cillian Murphy fan page. How do you not know who that is? Then you're like, oh bro, I thought it was fucking Tommy Shelby, my bad, Anyway, so I have this story on my feed, this post on my feed, and it talks about starting a small business and all the rest. So one thing I should mention as well is a lot of my comments get pinned. Right? So if you don't know what pinned is, if there's 100 comments, the one that's pinned, it might be the 99th comment, but the author of the post, has decided to have that comment as the top comment. So being a natural smartass by nature, a lot of my comments end up getting pinned because I have like, a different perspective on it, or a witty edge, or whatever you want to call it. And the interesting thing is, I put this comment on this one post, and as I said, it was about starting a small business or just believing in yourself, whatever. And I did one of those comments where it's like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you have an idea, go and do something about that idea right now. And once you've got a bit of a plan, invest everything you possibly can into that idea, because essentially you're investing into yourself, right? You're investing into yourself. I left it, the comment gets pinned, it goes to the top, it gets a couple hundred likes, it is what it is, right? And then like 10 days or like a week goes past or something. And then like people have commented on this saying like, hey, thank you. I needed to hear this. This message was just for me. Rah, rah, rah. I had someone DM me about it. All good. All right. That's the whole purpose of this comment is I've got all this engagement. It's all positive. It's all fun. And like out of all the comments that I put up, maybe 10% of them get replies. And out of those 10%, maybe fucking 2 of them are anywhere near like legible responses to what I'm actually asking or, something that is like as witty as what I'm saying back at me. But yeah, I got this. I saw, and also like my feed is fucking stupid. Like I'm not sure if you have Instagram or whatever, but typically if you post something, 9 out of 10 people have like under 5,000 followers, and every single thing that's going on your page. Everyone who likes, everyone who comments, everyone who's responding to shit that you've done. You see everything. But the problem is with my feed now, it's getting to a point because I comment on so much stuff, because I'm so engaged with so many other pages, and because I'm posting so much stuff, it's undeniably easy to miss things. You know what I mean? But I saw this person commented back on this particular post, and because I had so many people, because it got pinned and I had so many people responding back to it, I recognized on the right hand side, you get the little tile of what post it's talking about. And I saw the tile, I'm like, oh, it's another one. And I look across and I read the comment. I'm like, I need to open this because I don't even remember, like, what they're saying doesn't feel contextual to what I remember me commenting. So I've gone on there and reread the comment, and they've said like, that's bullshit. I'd rather invest in a company and know that I'm not going to lose my money. And I was like, yeah, true. Like, I see what you're saying, but also you could invest in yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having this conversation with myself. Like, I'm thinking, if we start with this idea, right? So say you're talking about Tesla. You're going to go, okay, I'm going to put X amount of my money. So this $1,000 that I have right now, instead of investing that into my idea, I'm going to invest it into Tesla, right? And Tesla is going to take that $1,000, put it into their massive kitty. They're going to continue to do what they're doing. They're going to increase in value. And then the shares that I bought, that $1,000 worth of shares, is now going to be worth $1,200 or $1,300 later on, maybe in a year's time or 2 years' time, whatever it is. And obviously that's crazy return. But stick with me. So the idea is you're investing in a company that already has some sort of worth and value based off the fact that you can buy shares in it, right? Because obviously there's a criteria that a company has to meet before it goes public on the share market. Now, let's trace that whole story back to when Elon Musk hadn't even thought of the concept of owning an electric car company, right? He, at some point, had to invest in himself to get started, right? A company is a non-physical entity of basically what a human being is. It's an idea. It's an idea conceptualized into a reality, and it involves processes to create a good or a service for someone, right? So just the concept of like investing money in yourself, or you would rather invest money into a company that is already established and turning over, compared to this like just taking that $1,000 and investing into yourself. And that can be done so many different ways. I'll touch on that in a second. But the concept that is a smarter move than investing in yourself, well, dude, you haven't got a finance problem. You have a faith problem. You need to have some faith in yourself. And investing is there are so many different faces of what investing looks like. When I go to the shopping center and I buy food for myself to eat, I'm investing in the next week of my life. I'm investing in the fact that I would rather make the decision to buy these bananas and these mandarins now than to invest in McDonald's in 2 days' time when I have a hunger that can be easily fixed by this fast food outlet, rather than what's already in the fruit bowl, right? When I make the decision between the white bread and the wholemeal bread, I'm investing in my future by choosing the healthier option. If you want to get deep as to why bread isn't healthy, go fuck yourself, because I don't care, right? Just focus on the analogy. And I feel like people don't understand the absolute freedom that the world offers, especially if you're in anything similar to my setting, a first world country, and you have fucking clean air and you have a little bit of money in your pocket, and you've got food in the fridge, you've got clean water in your cup. Life's all good, baby. This world is for you. Go do something. And to sit there and like, especially like, I like to go deep and think, well, this person obviously follows this page. This person has found this post from a while ago and decided that it was worth commenting on. Sure, let's play devil's advocate and say he's just doing what I'm doing and creating some sort of riff so that creates a conversation and therefore we go backwards and forwards. But I could tell by the way this motherfucker's commenting that he actually feels like he's not worth investing in. Now, I'm not here as some self-help dude trying to like, dude, you are worth it, fucking go for it, rah, rah. But like, honestly, just nut up. Have some fucking back about you and realize you do have potential. To say over a comment on Instagram that you want a definite return and that if you two invest in yourself, that money's going to disappear. Bro, do you know what the crazy thing is about investing in yourself? The first $10,000 goes down the drain. The crazy part is I'm only like $6,000 into that drain hole as well. Like, I know I'm going to continue to lose money, but the whole fucking point is to learn from your mistakes. That's what all this shit is about. I can't believe that somebody would put that boundary up in their mind and think that there is no way I would invest in myself because there is no return on myself. The return is how you feel every day. Obviously when we speak in terms of investing money into a company for a return, you want some sort of like, you want to say, I put $1,000 in and I get $1,200 out and now I have an extra $200 to do X, Y, and Z. We'll break it down further. What does that $200 do? What does that income that you've made from your investment after tax, all the rest actually do? Does it buy a car? Does it buy better food? Does it get you in a position of your life that gives you a better environment and a better lifestyle? And if so, which of any of that doesn't derive down to a feeling? How does that extra $200 or whatever profit you've made not just completely digest down to its finest point, which is a feeling? You wanted to make more money so that you could feel better. You wanted to invest your things so you could have more so you can feel better in your life. So now the example of what you put in your shopping trolley every time you go shopping as an investment becomes real. Because instead of feeling the sugar dump I feel after eating McDonald's because I was hungry at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning, I now just have my banana or my mandarin, I have a cup of water, I keep on my fucking way. I didn't drive out to get the McDonald's, I didn't make the rubbish, I didn't feel the guilt afterwards, I didn't spend the money that I didn't have, none of that. I got the feeling of not only sustaining that hunger, but also making the right decision. The investment was worth it. And as I keep saying, like, where in your book of self-worth is it not worth investing that money that you're going to give? Literally, like, I own shares, I own cryptocurrency, I own a lot of things that I physically cannot touch. And the difference between you owning it and not owning it is typically only numbers on a screen. And those numbers on a screen can change so quickly. To make it some sort of comparable item against investing money in yourself, it seems fucking crazy. And sure, I have days where I fucking ask myself and I ask Riz, what the fuck am I doing? I need to go back to driving trucks. This is ridiculous. I want to cry. I want to stop. I want to quit. None of it's worth it. But dude, that's fleeting. Even when I fuck up, even when I waste money and when I've got to a point where I realized, oh, that $1,000 I spent on this idea was a waste. It got me nowhere. It got me further behind than cool. Now I know what not to do in that situation again, don't I? I'm still richer for it. And you're telling me that you can't invest $1,000 into some stock and then the next day the fucking stock market go belly up? It's all the same. What sort of guaranteed return do you think you're going to get off this investment in something in the stock market over yourself? And like, obviously, I know I've blown this idea, this whole concept way out of proportion. But what the fuck are you talking about when you think an investment in something outside of what you know is better than having that faith in yourself and putting your balls to the wall? Like, maybe just because I'm now, X amount of time into the path of working for myself and doing something for myself, I'm at a point where I can confidently say that there is no other feeling like this. There is no other feeling that you get from the success that you've created by yourself. There's no greater feeling than the journey that you're creating as you go along and realizing that it's only adding depth and more like fiber and substance to your character because you are going through the processes, the trials and tribulations of fails and success. That's what it's all about. And you're going to comment on my positive rearing comment, positivity rearing comment, this thing that like says, hey, I don't know who needs to hear this, but go fucking do it. This is it. This is your day. You got an idea? This is fucking your idea. Go do it. And you're going to say some shit like, oh, I need a positive return. Dude, go fuck yourself. And you got a private account. I can't even roast you if I want to. You bitch. Man, this world, stop. I'm going to keep going, right? So on the weekend, the reason that I didn't record a podcast on the weekend is because I was actually treated to a weekend away courtesy of my partner, Larissa. And it was one of those things where she has to, and this is one of those fucking things that everyone says like, oh, I'm a hard worker, I struggle to stop. My biggest weakness is that I care too much. Like, I'm not trying to be one of those wankers, but I do work hard. You know, I love working hard. I love when you've got, 12 hours of shoveling shit to do. I hate sitting down at 1 o'clock because I'm scared that I won't want to get back up at 1:30 and keep going. I would rather just keep shoveling shit all day. And I've literally iterated in my first podcast. My first job was shoveling shit. It was literally that, I'm not scared of doing hard work, and so much to a point now that I get scared when I stop. I'm going to stop. So I don't give myself days off. I don't give myself time to recover and all that. So Riz kind of had to twist my arm and pull me along and say, come on, let's go. We're going to do this. We're going to go have some fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And it's the one thing that I kind of was really apparent to me that I found realizing over and over and over again while we were away. So we spent a night in Bunbury, we spent a night in Perth, and I found myself, like, in Bunbury this happened, it happened more so in Perth. I would look at places and go like, oh, well, we can't go there, we can't go there, we can't go there. Not because of the money and not because of not even how we're dressed or whatever. I think in my mind, and I don't know if this is common, maybe you can tell me if you have this as well, I feel like there are things on this earth that are not for me. They're not for me. For no other reason that they're just not for me. All right? You don't have a say in it, and they don't have a say in it. I don't know whether it's like that particular spot on the earth is not for you to reside within. I don't know if it's because of the goods and services being rendered in that property that are just not for you. And this isn't like I walk past a Gucci store and say, oh, I don't belong there because I can't afford anything out of there. Motherfucker, if I want to go into a Gucci store, that shit's for me. You understand? I'm talking about like walking past a Nepalese restaurant and thinking like, that's not for me. They don't want me in there. They don't want any of that. They just keep moving, right? But it is for you. It is for you. My business is for you. My business, everything that I do, everything that I create is not for me. It's for you. This podcast is for you, right? People might look at Black Ink and go like, well, that's not something, you got motorbikes, tattoos. It's not for me. It is. It is for you. It's more for you than it is for the people with tattoos. That's exactly what's going on. If we break down everything in this world, it's for one of two things. It's to feel cared for, loved for, and it's to make money. And very basically, if you have money to spend, you don't even need the whole amount of money to spend. You just need money to spend. Everything is for you. This world is for you. This world is for you. You're allowed to walk into the Nepalese restaurant and order whatever the fuck you want. You can start with dessert. How's this? Like when I go to Korean barbecue, I have to remind myself every time that it doesn't matter you don't know what you're doing. And you don't even have to find comfort in that, oh, I'm sure everyone who's white and walks in here doesn't really know what they're doing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. You know why? Because that restaurant is for you. That restaurant makes food. Well, it provides food for you to make for yourself. And you're a human that eats food. So it's for you. And within that, I feel like the cross-reference of these two ideas is that I feel like that person who doesn't want to invest in themselves, they don't realize that this world is for them. It's not for people like me who are already in business. It's for the people who have been in business forever and they have no other option. It's for the people like me who have just started and see a budding future in it. And there are people like him who have no fucking idea what's available to them. The whole lot is for you. It's that simple. But the one thing that it does take for you to be able to do it is participation. It takes committing yourself to a thought or an idea or just the movement of going forwards, The world is for you as long as you give it enough energy, like to begin with, for it to reciprocate that energy. And it's just, I find myself more and more often. Here's an example. I've never stepped foot into Street X before. Never stepped foot into Street X. Right? If you don't know, Street X is a brand up in Perth. They've been in Northbridge for as long as I can remember. I'm pretty sure, I'm a big fan of the owner, Brad. Wait, is that his name? Bradshaw? No, Daniel Bradshaw. Yeah. I just feel like that shop is not for me, and it's not. I think in the early days it was that I couldn't afford it, but I mean, like, I mean, as an adult, nothing's really that unaffordable. You find a way to afford things. That's the reality of being an adult. But I've felt forever that shop is not for me. That I would walk in, I would feel silly. I'd feel like a dog with my tail between my legs. But the reality is, like, if I have money, like, go and pick what you want and spend it, and have a conversation with the person behind the counter, and engage with their shit on Instagram, and you can make a new friend that you never knew you had. It's all for you. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a customer and you're willing and you want to be involved with that whole thing, and even if you don't want to buy something, if you just want to go and be a part of that, if you want to go to their opening days, if you want to go and have a look around in the shop once a month or whatever it is, like, it is still for you. It is still for you to go and be a part of, And I still have that problem in my head now. I still haven't been in Street X. I've walked past there half a dozen times with the intention of going in and psych myself out every time. I don't know what it is. I just I think I'm intimidated by the success that is Street X, especially now that I'm trying to do something and I've got my little seems to be like hobby business and Instagram page. It's growing bit by bit by bit. I feel a bit silly, but at the same time, it's for me. That is exactly who it's for. It's for someone who wears clothes. I wear clothes. Let's go. I just feel like we're only as good as the story that we tell in our minds. We're only as good as the story that we've been told before. We're only as good as the character we believe ourselves to be. In that, I mean, there's so much about, psychofeedback that seems to be crazy. Maybe that person didn't come from a place, the person who commented on my thing on Instagram, I mean, maybe they haven't won before. Maybe they haven't had the feeling of winning. They've only felt the feeling of losing. They feel that, they feel that if they were to invest that money in themselves like they have in the past, that they're going to have the same result over and over and over because that's all they've had in the past, right? Maybe their story is that they are a loser and that they don't have any success when it comes to money. But even then, I feel like, I'm balls deep in this book at the moment. I don't know. It's a weird book. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics, and I think this book is a book that was written using the information from that book and information from beforehand and afterhand, but somehow it's an earlier version of the same information. It's called Advanced Cybernetics, I think it's called. And basically it just speaks about the reality that we build from the things that have happened to us. We can actually change the things that are going to happen in the future based off things that we kind of manifest in our mind based off our imagination. It's like the combination of things that we know work from experience and the things that we know work from theory, and putting them together to create this sort of path for yourself in the future. And when I reference the information that I've learned from this book with this particular example, I can't help but feel like this person has no experience other than losing. Otherwise, they would understand how crazy what they're saying is. To assume that you have no possible way of getting your money back if you're to invest it in yourself is just, it seems kind of crazy. I feel like if I had nothing going on and only had $1,000, there is still so many things you can do with $1,000 to turn it into $10,000. I mean, as I spoke about in previous podcasts, go and buy shit from the salvos for next to nothing and advertise it on eBay. That takes nothing more than a room, your phone, an internet connection, and maybe a car to go to and from eBay. To and from the salvos. I don't understand. But that's the great job about being a human, is it's your whole life purpose from day zero to the day you die to try and get an understanding of what the fuck is going on. Because everything else is just an idea, and then it's your participation in that idea that gives you purpose. Which is a bizarre thought to think, that I am not Black Ink, but a person who is doing Black Ink, and in the process of doing Black Ink, I'm learning about myself. I remember I got told this really cool quote once from Sue Brooke. She owns the rink here in Bunbury. And she said, you never want to get an athlete who's trying to be the best in the world at a particular discipline. What you want to do is you want to get someone who's trying to be the best possible version of themselves throughout their lifetime, and at the same time, be a very good skater, right? So instead of trying to find the kid who wants to be the fastest speed skater in the world, you find someone who just wants to be the best fucking possible version of themselves and have them in speed skating, and obviously do all the things that it takes to be the fastest speed skater in the world, but that is never the actual goal. It needs to be some sort of byproduct of the ultimate goal, which is being the best possible version of yourself. And without getting into the psychology of being an athlete and all the rest, and kind of the mantras and affirmations that you do want to have with yourself, I feel like that's such a fucking great thing to live by. Like, I always try and just be like, even the prioritization, you know what I'm talking about. Like, when I prioritize what I'm doing with my day, it's easy to go like, well, X, Y, and Z need to be done first because they're for my business. And then afterwards, I have time to read, I have time to sleep, I have time to write my journal, I have time to practice piano, rah, rah, rah. The reality is, you need to put all of those things at the top, and then the business comes afterwards. Because if you are not in the best possible working condition, if all of those things that you said that you want to get done every day, even if it's for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, you said that because the outcome was to do purely with you. So for me to find half an hour a day to read a book, that has to come at the start, because if I put that at the finish, it doesn't have the right priority. It doesn't have the right urgency that it needs, because reading a book is for me. And while this business is my main source of income, this business will be nothing if I first am not as close to perfection as I can get every day. And obviously, like, I'm not saying being the perfect human or the perfect man or the perfect person. I'm saying the best Jake can possibly be today. If I can attain that before I get started with my business is child's play. All I have to do is make decisions and execute them. This part at the start where I have to say, like, right, the most important thing is when I first wake up that this body is operating properly, I hydrate. You know what I mean? Then I need to make sure that my mind is working properly, I go pray. And then I need to make sure that everything else is going to follow really well. I need to follow my schedule to a T and not deviate thinking that I'm smarter than the person I was yesterday, especially if it's, whatever o'clock in the morning. That whole concept itself, I feel like it takes a lifetime to fully, I wouldn't say understand, but to engage in that and to be very good at it, to understand that discipline is a skill that every day can be back to square one if you don't stay on top of it. To understand that, like, the act of doing the thing that you're meant to do is a muscle that you have to exercise every day and get good at that. And remember that the muscle that is you being the best possible version of you is the main muscle that you have to exercise. And in that, you will get everything you want. If that is good, everything that you want will follow. Because everything you want is tied within that idea of the perfect version of who you are. The perfect version of Jake is doing everything that he needs to do for his business today, right? It's not having this unreal expectation where I go like, oh, I need to fucking create this new product. I need to get in contact with this person. I need to bag up all this stuff. I need to make sure that these orders are ready to go. I need to make sure, right, hang on. You've given yourself 3 days worth of work. Let's just focus on exactly, like, out of everything that needs to be done, we make a list, we make it a priority, we start with the top, we work our way down. But before anything, how do you feel? What's going on with you? I've found the days that, I had such important stuff to do that because obviously, like, I will, as I said, I go from 2 until 5, I'm liking, I'm commenting, from 5 until 6, I'm creating, I'm posting, and then from 7 until like 9, I should say 6, 7 until 9, I'm sleeping. And if I need to sleep until 11, I'm sleeping till 11. Like, I understand there needs to be a certain amount of discipline where you go, okay, well, you can't just stay in bed all day. Okay, but I am an adult, and if I wake up and I'm like, oh, fuck my eyes, and there's no real reason as to why I should feel like that, like I didn't eat bullshit last night, I didn't smoke up too late last night, I didn't drink last night, well, you need more sleep, daddy. You need to stay in bed. That's what your body is telling. And obviously I'm in such an advantageous position where I can have these extra hours sleep, then who am I not to do that? If I'm going to wake up and push through the fucking mud of being tired and groggy and like not really knowing what's going on, well, bro, what type of work do you expect you're gonna create? What do you think is gonna be the end result if you're trying to fucking dig up through the shit? What sort of effort are you able to put into the actual goal itself? I would rather get 7 hours of the day of pristine, getting the job done properly and being proud of the work than getting 10 hours of the day and all just being, mediocre 70% bullshit. But as I said, I feel like with what I know now, and I got that piece of information from Sue years ago, and I'm only just starting to do something properly with it now, and it will probably take me another 50 years of thinking about it, putting things into play, getting really good at being the best version of myself, and also falling off the perch half a dozen times and doing things that I'm not proud of. Perhaps it's falling back into certain addiction. Maybe it's communicating with people that I know I shouldn't. Maybe it's experimenting with, whatever it might be, filling X, Y, and Z. You have to also have those losses to appreciate the wins. You have to have the wins to know why the losses are so bad. All these things are just cliche things, but I feel like putting them into the perspective of, real life, and understanding that, it is a lifetime of decisions and trying to be the best possible version of yourself, you start to get some sort of idea of what the fuck is actually going on. But look, that was the first 10 minutes of yesterday's podcast, and somehow I made it stretch into like 35 minutes. So let me just take a moment. The dog is just bloody fast out of sleep. Flat out of sleep. While we were up in Perth, we went to this, it's like a $2 shop. And there was this one section where it had all these colognes in there. And I know, like, you're thinking exactly what I was thinking. These $2 shop colognes are going to smell like fucking horse piss and fly spray. But they're all in, like, Hugo Boss, Polo Ralph Lauren, all the big names. And you're like, the fuck, how does this work? Like, $2 colognes and perfumes, but they're brand name. And you're looking at them and it's like, they're not even the barley versions. Like, this looks like actual Polo Ralph Lauren. So anyway, your mind does this thing where you're like, because it's $2, it will smell a particular way, and even if I smell it and it smells good, it's going to smell like shit shortly. That's why it's here. So the first time I walked past it, I just like didn't even register it, because you're like, oh, the cosmetic section of a $2 shop may as well be like, a fucking, it's not up my alley, is what I'm trying to say. So I end up, Riz stops there and she's spraying her and all the rest. I'm like, the fuck are you doing, So I go over there and I grab one of the men's, and just like, being a polite gentleman, you kind of fill in the time appropriately, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I'll try one as well. And I sprayed it. I'm like, oh, well, this smells like cologne, So I get another one, and like, I'm not getting them off by the names or anything. I literally just like the nicest color box. You get it and you spray it on my wrist. I'm like, damn, that smells really good. It must be going to wear off soon, right? So then I get one of the other boxes again. I think it was a Polo Ralph Lauren box. I sprayed it on my fingers for some reason, just on the tops of my fingers. And for some reason, it was like, I think I sprayed it it might have even, those sprays that you do where like drops come out instead of the mist, and it just like drop. And I was like, oh fuck, like now I've got a concentrated amount of cologne on my hand. So I fucking forget about it, because I try to smell my fingers. I'm like, that's actually quite nice. And like, I put it up to Riz's nose. I'm like, what do you think? And she's like, oh yeah, it smells kind of cool. And we walk around, and like, I keep on getting this whiff of this really nice smell. And like, my mind's moving a mile a minute. So I'm not going like, oh, that's that cologne I smelled on my hand. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's this fucking smell coming from? And then I realized, like, I put my hand up to my facial area, and I'm like, oh, that's the fucking cologne that I sprayed on before. I couldn't believe it. This cologne smells shit hot. Like, some of my rich friends that always smell $1 million when you go around there, like, I smelled like them with this $2 cologne. So I go back over to the table. I'm fucking sorting through it. And I mean, it's not like, they're all nicely packaged. It's all beautiful presentation. It's exactly how you would expect cologne to be presented if it wasn't in a fucking $2 shop. You know what I mean? So I end up going through them. I smell a couple of the tops of them. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck, $3, who cares? I get the expensive one. I got the $3 one. $3 one. I chuck it in the basket. We keep moving. And then for the rest of the day, because obviously we had to drive home, we had some things to do, I kept on smelling the smell of cologne, and I had to remind myself that, oh yeah, that's right, I got cologne. And like, I don't know about you, getting cologne for me is it's few and far between when I'm getting cologne. So it's kind of like, like, you bad motherfucker, you got some, like, it's kind of like when you get new shoes, you're like, damn, I might be a different dude tomorrow. Now I'm wearing these Asics. So I kept on reminding myself, I've got this cologne, but also that I got this $3 cologne. So I'm having this internal battle between like, oh, you got yourself some fucking fly spray that you're hell proud of, and then also forget about how much money it costs. It smells fucking awesome. So I'm having this thing like, oh, fuck. In that, I was thinking, like, because it is cheap, I am cheap for wearing it, but because it smells good, I feel wealthier for wearing it. I don't really even have a fucking point here. It's just the fact that I was caught between this riptide of feeling stupid because I bought cheap cologne and feeling really smart because I bought cheap cologne. And more so, the way that I feel differently about myself when I smell good. Because now I'm relating myself to these rich friends who can afford these beautiful things in their life, like the luxury of smelling so much better than what a human can naturally smell. And you know that that smell costs them maybe a couple of $100 just for, a little pretty bottle that sits in their fucking thing that they use every now and then. Now I feel like that bad motherfucker. How crazy is that concept? That I achieved that with $3, In a way, that's kind of like investing in yourself. See that? Full circle, motherfucker. That's what this is all about. 41 minutes in and I full circled this bitch. That's crazy. Look, if you've been listening to my podcast, if you've been watching my podcast, obviously this is number 13. If you've seen all 12 up until now, thank you. If you've liked and subscribed, you're a good person. If you haven't liked and subscribed, you're actually, by my definition, a bad person. But it's all good. You can actually work your way back into my good person list by liking and subscribing. I'm not going to say all of my videos, but all of my videos, if you liked all of them and you subscribe to my channel, bitch, you're in. You know what I mean? Simple as that. I might even let you use some of my cologne. Right? Now, what do we have coming up? I have socks coming up. Okay? I have jerseys coming up. I'm actually starting to look at holding my own inventory of t-shirts and hoodies, which if you don't know, up until now is not something that I've done purely because I do what I can afford to do with the resources that are available to me. Now, this means that my whole business is based on a print to order kind of foundation. So if you buy something off me, I get that manufactured. It's an automatic process. You order it, my supplier finds out, they make it, they send it to me. But now I'm going to be able to have some sort of an inventory situation where if you buy something off me, I'll literally be able to deliver it to you the same day. So there's plenty of things coming up on the horizon. There's going to be, there's definitely plenty of promotional stuff coming up. If you're watching this on Wednesday, I believe it's the 20th or something like that of July, for the next week, we have a giveaway running on Instagram. What you have to do is go and find the post of me wearing the jersey, go and comment as many names as you can on it. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. Make sure you've liked the post as well. And I'm just going to be drawing someone who'll get their choice of motocross jersey or hockey jersey when they are released. Obviously in your size, there's still plenty of all the sizes left. My pre-orders were only meant to be like, if this is all the jerseys that I have, the pre-orders are meant to be like this much of it. Now it's got to that much. Now, obviously I could have just not sold those pre-orders and, there would be heaps of availability when they do go up for sale. Unfortunately, that's not the case, because I had a guaranteed sale sitting in front of me, so I fucking took it, you know what I mean? Because your boy's struggling to eat, right? So, when they do go up for sale, if you want a jersey, do not sleep, because I'm not guaranteeing that they will all sell out. I'm just saying that chances are Murphy's Law, the size you want, in the style you want, will sell out. So make sure you get in. I'm going to have the day and the time that they're released documented, well documented on Facebook and Instagram and on my website and everything. So make sure you are staying diligent on that so that if you want a jersey, you do get it. Now, as far as the socks are concerned, I put up a little carousel yesterday. I put up a little, this or that voting scenario where people can say what socks, which sock design they like the best. I think I've honed it down into a good general idea, so I'm just working on the final proofs now and going back and forth with the supplier. I will be running a promotional thing. If you buy 2 jerseys or if you spend over $200 on the day of release of the jerseys, you'll be getting a free pair of socks. Now, obviously, you can buy the socks. It's I think it's the 8 to 11 size, so they fit everyone. They're good for everyone. They're a nice, neat black sock. They're going to go well with shorts. They go well under pants. They're a fucking pair of socks. You know what I mean? I don't really need to describe it too much. The design I don't want to talk about too much yet, because obviously that will become apparent when I release them. But yeah, if you're keen to cop a free pair of socks, you can do that by, and like to give you an idea, to spend $200, so the jerseys are $100, $120. So if I'm doing both jerseys for $200 with a free pair of socks. So there's one way. If you bought the hockey jersey and a hoodie, that is, I believe, $205, you get a free pair of socks. If you bought a motocross jersey and 2 t-shirts, that's over $200, get a free pair of socks. It's all good fun. One of the promotions I will be having soon is a a hoodie and a t-shirt for a fixed price, and that price is going to be crazy. Obviously, you just pick your size, you'll get a large hoodie, large shirt of your choice, and those bad boys will come in the mail for you. And then you just got fucking new favorite clothes that you get to wear everywhere and tell them where you got them from. Anyway, if you have made it this far into the podcast, we are 45 minutes and 30 seconds minus some editing, so probably 44 and a half minutes. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. Hope you've taken something away from today. If you have, please leave a comment for me. If you want to get in contact with any other ideas or anything you'd like to clarify or whatever it might be to do with me, Black Ink, speed skating, the dog, whatever, I'd love to hear from you. So you reach out on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on my YouTube. It's all just Black Ink with X instead of an A. Thank you for listening. You've been great. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be good to your mum, and you.